Good morning and welcome to the Fire in the Belly. We have a boardroom talk here and we have the outstanding Pat Slattery here with us this morning, festively dressed as an oversized elf. So good morning, Pat.
Who says I'm oversized?
Well,
When did you last meet an elf? You're meeting them every day.
well, that's very true.
Well, I just thought I would get in the flavor of the season this morning and put on my Christmas jumper, and just bring a bit of fun here this morning too.
Absolutely love it. So yes, here we are on Christmas Eve, 2020. Yeah, 2020. God, I was trying to give ourselves an extra year there.
You're wishing your life away there, Pete.
No, I'm not wishing it away. I'm just totally lost as to what year I'm in. It's been a weird old year, but there we go. So come here, tell us the gift of giving. Is it a good thing, bad thing? What are we supposed to be given?
Oh, geez, the gift of giving. I guess, look, in order to understand the gift of giving, you have to first learn to receive. And again, I'm going to share with you these are just my opinions. I'm going to try and keep this as simple as, because this is going to be quite difficult to get into without I suppose, without being a little bit spiritual in ways, I suppose, and also, I suppose, without being philosophical, right? I always get tongue tied in that word, but from my opinion, I guess, you must accept the gift of giving. You can't just take it. You can't just decide that you have a gift of giving. You have to accept it first. And when I talk about learning to receive, because I think everybody at this point, or maybe we won't assume that everybody knows this, but if you want to truly share love and give something yourself, therefore you must truly love yourself first in order to be able to give it. And I believe the gift of giving is exactly the same, because it's very difficult to recognize the impact of giving unless you've been on the receiving end. Now, not only that, when you give, you're always receiving something. So I think it's really important to understand that. And it brings me back, to me, I always say to people, listen, accept it with the intention it's been given. Somebody wants to give you something, it doesn't matter what it is, and we'll elaborate into different types of giving, I suppose, during the call, I guess. But it brings me back to a story I've often shared, and as a young kid, because I think most at this point will know that I grew up with very little. We had very little, and what a lot of people would have saw as just being standard, if you like, we would have saw as something that was extra, as something more that we weren't used to having. And I had this beautiful auntie of mine who was such a giver, actually, and has given me so much in life. And a lot of the lessons of my journey would have began way back even then when I used to visit my aunt, because during my time up there, I mean, she taught me how to read and write before I went to school, Pete. Right? She taught me about life. She taught me a little bit about etiquette. I think I forgot some of it on the way, but she did. She was an extraordinary lady, but I remember one time I used to go and visit her quite a lot, because she was widowed very young. And I used to go and visit her, and I would run errands for her. And what amazed me is she taught me actually a lot about giving, and she taught me about it's okay to accept things too. But I remember one particular evening calling to see her, and she had a lot of guests. She had visitors, so I said, I'll head off and I'll come back tomorrow evening, and if you need anything done. And as I was heading home, we had this neighbor. She was a little bit older than me. I could hear her calling my name, and so truth be told, I was trying to avoid her. I just go, oh God, I don't want to get caught talking to her. But she was a lovely girl, actually. But she said, I said, what's wrong? And she said, Pat, she said, Bridie told me to give you this. I said, what's that? So she had this big thing of tinfoil held in her hands. And I said, what's that? I don't know. I said, what is it? So she opened it up. And Bridie had obviously cooked some finger food, like fried, and there was sausages and rashers and black and white, put all cooked and everything inside this. Now, growing up in my house, I would have taken your hand off of that, right? But somewhere in the way, there was a bit of pride. Something got in the way. And I got almost angry and annoyed. And I said, I don't want that. I said, no, I don't want that. Like, you can have it. And she goes, can I really? And I said, yeah. And I goes, well, I really wanted it, but I couldn't accept it. And because pride got in the way. And I think this is something is really important, because sometimes people who are givers think that it's all about just giving. You have to learn how to receive something back, because something will always come back to you. Now, you can't give it with an intention of accepting something back, or maybe you can, but that's a different type of giver. But for me, it was many years later, I had realized, had my Aunt Brady been watching, if she happened to be a fly on the wall and could see what was going on there, I know I would have hurt her feelings. I know I would have hurt her feelings. So I made a decision, which is something I learned from Brady, was to accept it with the intention it's been given. Whether you want it or you don't want it, don't break the cycle, don't break the flow. Accept it with the intention it's been given. And especially now where kids are concerned. I hear some people, and you know, where kids want to give away something, they want to give away some of their money to somebody, or they want to give away a sweet, and people go, oh no, 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 I'll keep it to yourself. You know what you're doing. I think we got to be careful we don't break that cycle, that we allow them to become givers too, and accept it with the intention. If they're giving it you with a really want to give it you, whether it's something you want or you don't want it, you take it and you accept it with the intention it's been given. That's just my opinion. That's just a bit of advice I would give to people. But for me, I will accept it with the intention it's been given, as long as it's good intent. Okay. So again, thinking about your intention, what's the intention that's been given? Are you, and what intent are you giving with? So in order to receive the gift of giving, I have to look back on my life, and you know, and when I sit here, it's kind of not going to be easy to have this conversation without sharing that I believe I'm a giver. I give of myself a lot, and I don't want this to sound egotistical that it's about me. It's not. But I want it to be about everybody who's watching here, everybody who's reading this, everybody who's paying attention to this information. That the importance of accepting that you can be a giver. And for me, when I think about the gift of giving, people say, well, how do you give? Well, I believe I give of myself every day. There are certain things I do that I don't want to be recognized for personally, but there are certain things that I do through what I do for a living. I believe I give. I have a gift of giving. I'm giving information, knowledge, chance, hope, compassion, inspiration, motivation, whatever it is that somebody takes away. I believe I do this through what I do every single day. And the reason I want to share this is because it doesn't matter who you are, what your situation is, your circumstances, everybody can give something. So you got to think about the gift of giving. Now, in order to give that gift, I have to be able to receive that without ego, right? Without ego, without, you know, without embarrassment, right? Without feeling silly, without feeling clumsy, and without being overly concerned about what other people think. I want to give, and I want to give freely. And growing up, that would not have always been easy, and I'm sure for some other people that's not always going to be easy either. There's a time when you give that you may feel judged, and then there's a time when you're giving that you might challenge yourself in terms of why you're giving. But the reality is, if you find yourself challenging and feeling yourself, even challenged by outside sources as to why you're giving, and embarrassed about it, then have you truly accepted the importance of receiving the gift of giving? Okay, so when you truly accept the gift of giving, that means you can give freely with no expectation, with no concerns about what other people say, think, or say, and no concerns about what you say either, because you speak your truth. So I'll ask yourself honestly, am I accepting the gift of giving? Truly accepting it? Because when you truly accept it, trust me, you give so much more that you're not even aware of. People take away so much more from you that you're not aware of. And that's when you really know you're giving the gift of giving. It's kind of one of those, but you don't know, because you're never going to see the true impact, the longer lasting impact, and how far the impact of your giving goes. So, again, accept that the intention is given. And the other thing is, how do we, I suppose, when we think about the gift of giving, you have to understand that expression actually is the gift of giving too. It kind of validates it. So this is really important when we understand this. So, you can use verbal expression, which are simply by the words that you speak, the things that you say. When we think about your verbal expression, how many times have you given thanks? Just given thanks. How many times have you said thank you and truly meant it? And truly meant it. And when you understand that verbal expression, that validates the gift of giving. You're giving thanks, by the way. You're giving thanks for receiving something that was a gift from somebody else. Then we can look at the physical expression, by the actions you take. I have a great friend of mine who, when he meets people for the first time, they go, oh, because he goes, hugs are free, come on, come in. And he just gives everybody a hug. He's a hugs are free, right? So he shows a physical expression. He says, hey, I give hugs, I just give people hugs. It makes you feel good. It might make you feel a little bit awkward in the beginning, but it makes you feel good. I've never met anybody who doesn't feel good after a hug, right? So sometimes we can, again, think about the expression of giving, the gift of giving. Physically, how can you do this? Physically, you can see it in your smile, in your face, and in different things too. So, physical expression. Then, of course, we have the spiritual expression. By the way you share and live your life. By the way you share and live your life. And by paying attention. Now, when I talk about spiritual expression, I'm not necessarily talking about religious here. But that doesn't mean that if that's what it is for you, that's what it is for you, and that's okay. But it's by the way you live your life and by paying attention to life. The greatest gift you can give to people is attention, paying attention. Making people know that you're aware of life and sharing it and living it, being it. One of the greatest examples, by the way, of the gift of giving is something I learned from my favorite movie of all time. And I'm sure some of you, if you haven't heard of this movie or seen this movie, please take the time to watch it. But not only take the time to watch it, make sure you bring yourself a big box of Kleenex, because you're probably going to need them. But a movie, Pay It Forward. So I know sometimes I speak quickly, so I'm going to say it again, Pay It Forward. And that movie really opened my eyes when I saw that movie first. I couldn't believe the magic that was created. The magic that was created from the mind of a child to be able to pay it forward. So when I often ask myself, and when I say this to you, I'm really asking myself, what can you pay forward? What can you pay forward? And again, the gift of giving, I liken it to, I use the word contribution a lot. Right? And contribution, because people ask me when you say contribution, Pat, what do you mean? Maybe it's the gift of giving. That's what contribution is. By what you do every day. Sometimes, people say, well, I don't have a lot of money, I can't contribute financially. It doesn't always have to be financially. I believe I contribute to the world by what I do every single day, by what I do for a living. I have met some extraordinary people. I happened to meet a chap this week, and he's working in a hotel. And his attitude was incredible. He wowed me. He completely wowed me with his attitude. And I thought, this guy's paying it forward and he doesn't even know. He just does it naturally. And by what he does every day, simply he's a barman in a hotel. And most people go, Asher, he's only a barman, or I'm only a barman. But the attitude of this, and when I say a kid, because he was just a kid, the attitude that he brought, the energy he brought was a gift, because it made me feel a hell of a lot better than I felt even just before I met him. He made me walk away with a smile on my face. Matter of fact, he made me have a 10-minute conversation with him. Right? Thankfully, the bar was quiet. Right? But I wanted to be in his company. I wanted to have more conversation with him. I was fascinated by his thinking and by his behavior. And that, to me, is one of the greatest examples of contributing by what you do every day. Just by having that conversation, by thinking differently, by bringing energy, and it cost him nothing. But I'm sure he received something exceptional from it also. And I will say that he did. He received a good tip, right? But and a bit more than that, because I connected with him and I shared with him something that he's been extremely grateful for. But that was him receiving it by having that gift of giving, but with no expectation. And as a result, look at what has happened to his life. And he said it to me, what I shared with him was exceptional, right? And it has made a change. But that, it's like it creates a knock-on effect, right? When you get into that gift of giving, it creates a knock-on effect. That's what paying it forward is all about. Paying it forward. So by what you do every single day, what are you doing to contribute? Can you make people feel better when they walk away from meeting you than they did before they met you? What kind of an experience can you give them? Now, some people do it in real terms. You got people who work on the front line, right? People who are out there changing and saving people's lives on a day by day and an hour by hour basis in some cases, and they're contributing in a positive way. You know, the other thing you can do is something I learned many years ago from it could have been Jim Rohn, but I probably had been Brian Tracy, and it was probably Robert Kiyosaki, and it was probably all of them, because it's something that I have seen as a common denominator when it comes to people's successes. And the gift of giving is going that extra mile. How can you go that extra mile for somebody? What can you do just to go that extra mile, just to be there? You know, so there are so much around the gift of giving. Now, of course, we are at the season of goodwill, so we can't really talk about the gift of giving without talking about gift giving as well, right? Because this is the one time of the year that most people practice it. Most people practice it around this time of the year. So now I will be suggesting to people that maybe it's a good idea to practice it at other times of the year too. Gift giving is not just for Christmas, right? So, but here's what happens when it comes to this time of the year. People feel obliged. It's crazy. See people running in and out of shops going crazy because they feel obliged that they have to get something for somebody else, and so on. And when you have a family as big as mine, it can be quite difficult, right? But you know, when we talk about gift giving, you know, gift giving is much more than an obligation. It is an opportunity to love somebody else. So it's much more than an obligation. So we got to start thinking differently on it now. Again, we all have our own love languages, right? So to really show love to another person takes a lot more effort than simply grabbing the first thing you see in the store that fits your budget. It's not about the most expensive gift. Now, I will say to you, certainly this time of the year, for those who are struggling and wondering and worrying about gifts and thinking about what presents am I going to have under the tree, I promise you this, people appreciate your presence more than your presence. So make sure you give enough time, and make sure when you do that, you bring out the right energy and you give the gift of love, the gift of happiness. So, but if we're talking about gift giving, again, remember, it's to show a person and to show love to another person. It takes a lot more effort than just simply grabbing the first thing you see in the store. So in your quest to find that perfect gift, here's a few tips, right? Remember this. It takes time to understand what a person truly needs and loves. It takes time to understand what a person truly needs and loves. So maybe you got to ask yourself, have you been giving that time? Have you been giving that time? It's not about you. So don't give a person whatever you would want. Ask yourself, is this something that they would really want? Okay. Now, remember something else, by the way, you can't buy love, so don't bother trying. Cost is not nearly as meaningful as the planning time that goes into the gift. Sometimes the most simple things that you give a bit of thought into are far more meaningful than actually buying the most expensive gift. So there's never been a society in history, by the way, with more stuff to give. We're swimming in it right now. Where the world has been commercialized when it comes to this. And if the reality is most people don't even use what they do have. So why would you buy them another one? Right? So think about this rather than buying stuff, just lots of other stuff to fill the shelves, to fill different things. You know, we have a great client, a wonderful client who helps people declutter, right? So, you know, maybe you can get the gift of decluttering to get rid of the stuff that you don't want, right? You know, and then you can also probably change the flow actually, right? Because you can actually fight the tide of consumerism by giving a different gift, a unique gift. Now, I understand, by the way, consumerism too, and I understand that's a necessity. So I don't want to dismiss the people who are out there working hard to build their business. But I think this time of the year, you can think about something different. And a couple of unique gifts that you could probably give. You could give the gift of yourself. Now, this could be a special project, by the way. This doesn't mean, I'll give the gift to myself. I'll turn up and I'll throw myself down on your sofa all day and you can serve me tea and mince pies, right? The gift to yourself. You could create some sort of a special project, a service. You could make something that's homemade. You could choose to spend time together. You could think of different ideas that it could include. Here's one for you, Pete. Imagine somebody giving you the gift of free babysitting, right? But somebody said to you, you know what, Pete, I'm going to give you a gift this year. Instead of me buying something commercial, going to the shops, I'm going to tell you, pick an evening, any evening you like. And we're going to come. I'm going to take care of your kids, take care of your home, let you and your wife go out and have an absolutely wonderful evening together. Wouldn't that be more meaningful? Right. So, think about it. There's something more that you could do. It could be, if it's for a loved one, it could be a massage, or you could bake somebody's favorite cookies, right? Or their favorite cakes, or you could do something different when you bring a gift, something that's meaningful that you put a bit of time and effort into. Another gift you could give is the gift of experience. In our family, our favorite gifts are activities that we get to do, not things to have. We love building memories. We love doing things, gifts to do something, to go somewhere, to build a memory. And this is not always something that costs an absolute fortune. For instance, some of the gifts that we've enjoyed are a ticket to the zoo, maybe a gift certificate for a restaurant, or a ticket for the movies. And sometimes maybe it's just a trip to the local park to get out and spend a day, building memories, do something different. So that's our favorite, are the things we do, not the things to have. Because remember, everything we have is borrowed anyway. We don't have anything other than experiences, right? Then another gift you could look at is the gift of charity. Now, sometimes the gift to charity, make a donation in someone else's name. So if you really want to do charity, I mean, again, I don't really want to blow my trumpet, but I do quite a lot for charity, and I don't want recognition personally. There are occasions where we will accept it because it might prompt other people to do something similar. But my donations to charity are based on other people. The gift of giving that other people are doing is nothing really to do with me. It's what I see other people doing and making a difference. And I was in my hometown recently, and I've been watching a page set up for homelessness. And I watched the work that these people are doing, and I watched the certain businesses that support them. And there's one fast food restaurant who seems to support them on a very regular basis. And I've seen this going on for a long time. So I thought, okay, well, how can I create a bit of a win-win here? What can I do? So I just simply went there and I paid for 20 meals. And I said, okay, and I told the guys, listen, there are 20 meals paid for. You collect them whenever you're ready. And that way, everybody won. Everybody. I felt amazing. And and I didn't expect, but they put it up on their Facebook page and prompted me. No, she did ask, and I said, I kind of not interested in getting recognition here, but at least I'm happy to let you put my name up, because it might prompt other people to do the same. So again, when we start thinking about the gift of charity, think differently. How can we create a complete win here? So and sometimes make a donation in someone else's name. Send a gift from somebody else. So, you send it on behalf of somebody else who could do that little bit of a lift for somebody to say thank you. Most humanitarian agencies have programs where you can meet very practical needs, by the way, of a lot of hurting families around the world. I've been blessed to have been, and not, I won't say very actively involved, but I've been involved quite a lot with the Christina Noble Children's Foundation, and I've been blessed to have been to the center in Vietnam, and I see the difference they make. And I know how little the gift of charity, for the little effort made by some people, can make a huge difference. Imagine getting the chance to buy livestock for Christmas. Something that will change a person's life long after Christmas. So when we think about the gift of giving, we got to think about how we're actually making a change in the world, in what way. And the one thing I will say to you guys is what's really important right now, particularly in society right now, I believe, is to get your kids in the game. Get them in the game. Get them in the game of giving. Because this is something they will learn, by the way. Now, people say you can't learn this. Everybody has it, by the way. But if consumerism takes over and if life keeps getting in the way, people tend to forget. So you got to get them involved in the game of giving. So I've almost lost count of the amount of times that adults have said to my kids, "What are you getting for Christmas?" Right? And by the way, kind adults, not, they're kind people, but what are you getting for Christmas? And to me, it seems to set the stage for some of the biggest pitfalls of the season. Because it's far too easy for children and adults to believe that Christmas is about getting and not about giving. So think about that. What are you getting for Christmas? Is a consistent expectation of getting. And it loses the emphasis about what it's all about, isn't it? Giving? Isn't that what it's all about? So I'm going to say to you, if you're a parent, fight back. Fight back. You can bring the gift of giving to the children around you. Begin by asking, what are you giving for Christmas? Now, it may seem strange or unnatural, but what a great thought to sow in little minds. What are you giving for Christmas? Take your children on a shopping spree with only a few quid, right? And let them into the pound shop or the euro shop or whatever, and let them run riot in there, right? Because even the smallest child could buy gifts for their family, and they'll love it, by the way. So ask them, what are you giving? Maybe you want to ask yourself, what are you giving? Rather than what are you getting? What are you expecting? Now, I would have grown up a lot of my life hoping to get something for Christmas. Disappointed at times when I didn't. Now, I have everything I want. I have everything I want. And if I receive a gift, which I'm sure I will accept it with the intentions, and I will love getting that gift, by the way. But I can tell you, there's nothing pleases me more in seeing somebody's face when I've given something, no matter what it is. If it's a word, whether it's a thank you, whether it's an actual physical gift, but it makes me feel incredible too. Of course, it's all about me, right? Now, again, as families, we have shoebox appeals, right? You could fill a shoebox. Goodness knows the kids probably have a lot of presents and gifts sitting that they don't play with anymore. Somebody will be happy and thrilled with, So again, we're going to include your kids in the game. Get them involved in wrapping presents. Now, even when I say we, I have to give most credit to Donna here. She does a lot of crafts with Ashton, and he will make his own wrapping paper, his own cards, and and he will do that. So we got to get them involved, and then give them the opportunity to physically pass the presents out on Christmas. This is the fun part. Let them enjoy the act of giving. Let them enjoy the act of giving. This is so important because right now in this current situation we're going through, most people need to know this. They need to be involved. And the act of giving doesn't necessarily mean a physical gift. It can be anything. It can be time. It can be love. It can be a smile. You can do so much. You could be a secret Santa, right? Again, remember, giving should not be about making yourself feel good or drawing attention to our generosity. You have to come up with some more radical ideas. You got to give secretly. And here's something. Give to those who don't deserve it and might not even appreciate it. Give to your enemies even. Now, here's the real challenge. This is when you know you really accepted the gift of giving. When you can give freely. You can give freely to everybody. And giving, it maybe it's just a smile. But giving generously is a win-win-win proposition. Everybody wins. It blesses the people that receive the gift, and it blesses you by taking focus off yourselves and putting it on others. Remember, the more we give, the more we delight in our giving. So the more we give, the more we delight in our giving. Really think about that. So when we talk about different givers, there are general characteristics about givers. Okay, so Let's look at the characteristics for a moment. A giver's basic motivation is to conserve and share resources in order to meet needs. Right? That's their drive. Is to conserve and share resources in order to meet needs. Now, that's not just that's needs of others, but also the needs of themselves. Okay. Givers take special delight in discovering needs that others overlook and then meeting those needs. Now, we all know givers like this because they love it when they find something that somebody overlooked and they go, I have the answer for you. And then they go and do something to help them meet those needs. So these are the different characteristics that we start recognizing. Givers particularly enjoy preventing waste by exercising wisdom and accountability. A giver gets joy by finding less costly ways to do things, whether the cost is measured in time, money, energy. A giver gets joy in finding ways to do things differently. Now, sometimes, by the way, as a giver, if you're a true giver, sometimes you might discover that your family and friends think you're stingy. They might think you're much too concerned about counting pennies. But the people to whom they give think they are extremely generous. Families have major expectations. Not all families, let's be fair. But for sometimes people think that they might be judged as being stingy, instead of realizing the reality is the people to whom you give think you're extremely generous when you put thought and effort into it. Givers like to stay out of the limelight, by the way, often giving anonymously in order to avoid recognition for their giving. So these are different characteristics you'll notice in different givers. Givers evaluate spirituality in terms of resources, accountability, and dependability. So givers will evaluate spiritually how they feel. And are they feeling that they've made an impact and achieved an impact? Also, you will notice some of the characteristics that givers do is they tend to save resources. It kind of brings the giver almost as much pleasure as giving them, by the way, because they regard saving as a key that opens the door to even more resources. They seem to be able to accumulate savings even in hard times. So giver strengths. A giver saves money by making wise purchases and also tends to avoid impulsive spending. Givers tend to have an excellent understanding of authority and accountability, more than those with other motivational gifts. Other givers expect to be held accountable and diligently hold others accountable. Givers are always watching. Now, we're going to talk about different characteristics and different types of givers, so we'll get an understanding here. But you also discover too that givers are usually very hard workers and tend to have conservative values. Well, they're very hard workers usually. They're people who work relentlessly and tirelessly, and they give of themselves, but they have very conservative values. They don't really want recognition. They just want to make a difference in life. Now, givers also like to become personally involved in the lives of the people whom they support. This is what I've seen so many people get involved in different charities, and when they go out and they support a specific charity, or maybe they make a visit to the centres and see the difference that people are making, all of a sudden they truly become personally involved in the lives of the people that they want to give support to. I've seen so many people out there who are so committed to the homeless right now. And they know that they personally want to be involved in their lives. Now, also, givers, by the way, regardless of economic status, a giver hardly ever spends more than they make. Now, that might sound strange, because a giver, if they're a true giver, they will understand, because they evaluate everything. They understand that this is a long-term plan. So they hardly ever spends more than they make. This is why they rarely incur debt. Givers love to motivate others to save and to give generously. They love to make others happy, to give more to them. Now, Let's talk about a giver's weakness. Sometimes their efforts to conserve resources can turn into the assumption that they're being just cheap. Okay, givers can react negatively to pressure to give, assuming that others can and should meet a need, since the need is well publicized, right? Now, these are different givers. We want to touch on this, we get an understanding, because I want you to, the reason I'm going to talk through this is I want you to start recognizing traits and behaviors as we're going to move through being givers to being true givers who have received the gift of giving. Okay, so it also, when we start thinking about givers assuming that others can and should meet, so people who give tend to be judgmental sometimes of other people, saying, I'm constantly doing this, why are you not? We should be doing this, and they tend to judge and not even know whether the other person is contributing to something else. I've seen this a huge amount, by the way. People who are givers tend to look at other people and get very angry or annoyed when other people seem to be doing something else or doing more with their life or have a happy life, and not actually realize that they may be doing something anonymously as a giver. And everybody is contributing in some way, everybody's giving in some way, right? So just to be careful in terms of the attention and the environment that you're in and what is bringing into you as a giver. Are you giving there all the time and feeling the pressure to give, or again, assuming other people have to do it? Because, well, everybody knows that there are a lot of poor children in the world. Everybody knows they're homeless. Everybody should be giving something, right? And people tend to point the finger at other people, especially when you're giving, because it can become very frustrating and time consuming and take up a lot of energy. So you want to be conscious of this. This could be a weakness that you might see. And if it is, you want to catch it and notice it in yourself. That's all. If a giver has been offended or lost confidence in a person, they may allow their feelings to interfere with opportunities to give. Now, this is, to me, is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. And I will say this because I have a reflection back from many years ago. And I had a great mentor. And I was giving a lot of my time, a lot of myself, and a lot of my resources to some people and supporting a lot of people. And got little or nothing in return. Matter of fact, other than I may have, and maybe you will recognize this yourself. And at some point in your life, I felt a little bit used, and I felt a little bit challenged as to why I would do this. And I became, maybe annoyed, and I had made a decision that I'm going to stop. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not giving it myself anymore. I have enough of this. And this mentor, we were having a conversation. So, well, Paddy said, I don't believe that to be true. And I said, well, we'll see. We'll see about that. He said, it couldn't be. He said, Paddy said, you have to continue being who you are. You should never change who you are because of other people's behavior. He said, you will be giving forever. You'll be giving for all of your life because that's who you are. Just because you get a few bad experiences with some people along the way, don't let it interfere with your opportunity to keep giving. Because that's who you are. And the opportunity and the changes you've made in people's lives, even in those that you're now dissatisfied with, he says you've made a positive impact, you've made a positive change because of what you've given. Why would you stop that? He said, don't ever stop being who you are. And I thought, you know what? It didn't take me very long to realize he was right. So I choose to keep giving of me and being the best I can be. So again, as I said, a giver can easily be tempted to judge a person based on a single incident that might appear to reflect poor stewardship or lack of accountability, rather than taking the steps necessary to get an accurate account of the situation. Think about it. Think about people's behavior. People, givers can become judgmental because it's, when you're out giving yourself so much, you have a different expectation of people. Not all givers, by the way, and we're going to touch on different givers here in a few moments, because it's, in order to understand the gift of giving, we have to understand the behaviors that go with it, so we know how we can truly be givers. Okay, so again, just as true as any other spiritual gift, if a big giver becomes too focused on issues that they see as priorities, their perspective will reflect tunnel vision instead of wise understanding. So sometimes you can get that tunnel vision instead of becoming wise in terms of your understanding. And the reason I want you to be, I have seen so many people who have been givers and doing so much with their life and to stop. Maybe it's because of one of these traits. And maybe if you recognize it, it'll prompt you to get going again and start paying it forward some more. And think about, this when we talk about mature reflection, When we sit back and think about things upon more mature reflection, we can see things from a different way, a different perspective. We can see the meaning of something. That doesn't mean it's always going to be satisfying, but you can also choose then what you accept and what you don't accept. And you can maybe understand why somebody I understand there are people out there who have done me wrong in the past, and I understand why. And I don't judge them for it because I understand now. So, as we often say, we can let it go with love, right? And then I can give love back to myself, and I can give peace and happiness, and I can express it in many other ways and keep doing what I'm doing. So now again, for givers, sometimes it involves placing too much attention and getting the best deal rather than the final goal, whatever that would be. So getting the best deal is not the most important. The final goal is what's important. So you have to ask yourself, are you a giver? Remember this, the world is in a continuous state of circulation and flow. Whether it's water cycle, whether it's your breathing cycle, or the changing in the seasons, everything is in constant motion. Giving and receiving are similar. They work together. And this is going to be really important. And this is probably the most important message I'm going to share with you here today. So can I ask you to do something for me here? Breathe out. Keep breathing 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 out. You're beginning to feel like you're going to suffocate, right? In order to be give, there must be a receiver. So giving is about outflow and receiving is about inflow. So the outflow is breathe out, breathe in, your inflow. You can't keep giving without receiving. They work together. You can't do one without the other. You keep trying to breathe out, do nothing, just keep breathing out. Let's see how long you last. So you have to have inflow. You got to let it in too. The most important thing about giving is your intention behind it. If you're going to receive something with the intention it's been given, what's your intention when you're giving? In the book Give and Take by Alan Grant, he describes three types of people: the taker, the maker, and the giver. The taker, these are the people who are always trying to get as much out of people as possible. You know people like that, right? The maker. Maker is a person, if they've done you a favor, they would expect one back. And then there's the giver. The giver is a person that goes out of the way to help you with no strings attached. So if we think about this, there's three types of giving. Giving with no strings attached. You're giving from the heart. You're giving from the heart. No strings attached, no expectation, anonymously, all these different things you can just give of yourself. Then you can give to receive, by the way, and there's nothing wrong with this, as long as you understand your intention behind it. You see, people then get confused and think I just have to give of myself completely, give from the heart and nothing else. Absolutely. However, it is okay to give to receive, that you expect something back in return, as long as you're clear about your intention. So if you're giving to receive, what's your intention? So that's when you do a business deal, right? You enter into a contract. You maybe take on a job and you go working for somebody, and they say to you in the interview process, they go, hey, here's what it is. We want you to come in on Monday to Friday from 9 o'clock to 5 in the morning till 5 p.m. During the day, we want you to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. This is what we want you to do. And you say, yes, I'm happy to do that. Well, in order to do that, you have to receive a paycheck. I want to get something back in return, which is your paycheck. So you entered that agreement. Now, when your employer pays you your paycheck, they expect to get back a good day's work, right? So giving to receive is okay. You understand how it works. What's the intention behind it? Sometimes you say, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's entering into an agreement. So I think it's really important that people understand with the gift of giving that there are multiple ways to give and receive. Okay. Now, we do obviously want to talk more about giving from the heart. That's really what we want to be at. But I don't want to confuse people, because too often I've seen people talk about a topic like this, and it makes people feel guilty, or it challenges them that they have a ambition to go and grow, to become something more. And you know what? You have the gift of showing people the way too, so that's okay. If you want to be the best you can be, if you want to grow, whether it's materialistic stuff or not, that's okay. It's up to you. As long as you set out your intention and you're very clear on what your intention of giving is, then you also have the giving to gain. You're giving something to gain something. BNI, Business Network International, actually use it as their catchphrase, givers gain, which means if you give to somebody, you should gain something in return. Now, that's kind of like one of the universal laws too, right? This is like the law of the universe in terms of the law of attraction. It really happens by what you give and what comes back to you. When we talk about the law of cause and effect, right? The seeds that you sow. So you can gain something back by giving something too. And that's okay once you're very clear on what your intention is. So your intention is what's most important here when we start thinking about, the giving. What's your intention behind it? So, again, are you a taker, a maker, or a giver? And are you giving with no strings attached? Are you giving to receive? Are you giving to gain? And it's all okay as long as you're very clear about your intention. So how do you tell what type of giving that you're doing? Well, then it's quite simple. You'd have to discover why you're giving. Now, I also want you to realize this. If you ever feel that you have lost something through giving, that you've given away you've lost some of your energy, some of your spirituality, some of your finances, if you feel your time or energy, if you feel that you've lost something through giving, then that's not truly giving. So analyze this sometimes. If you feel that you've lost something, then it's not truly giving. So when you give, you got to give wholeheartedly and let it go. But if you feel that you've lost something, that's not truly giving. So therefore, you might find it a problem receiving too. So remember, those walls that you put up to keep out the negative, keep out the happiness too. Right. So if you feel like you've lost something through giving, then it's not truly giving. So I'm going to be suggesting to you guys that you practice giving. You can practice giving a smile, a gift, a compliment. Never underestimate the power of a compliment. It is to me, it's one of the best gifts you could give anybody. Now, this is a true compliment, an honest compliment, by the way. But the gift of a compliment is just, I have seen it so many times, and it's something we practice purposely, by the way. Purposely we practice it. Now it's habitual. I will compliment somebody and I see them doing something well. We live in a world where there's so much reality and so much, oh goodness, leave me a review. And there's so many people coming on putting reviews and negative reviews. And you know what? There's so much people doing so much great in the world. Isn't it so important to let them know? So never underestimate the gift of a compliment, the gift of kindness, maybe a note. You leave a little note for somebody, a little thank you note, or a donation, maybe, or time, the gift of a listening ear, or the gift of thanks, acknowledging somebody who supported you, helped you. Because when we understand the power of giving those gifts of any of these things, then you can become a receiver. And when you become, by the way, becoming a receiver is easier than it is to be a giver, whether you realize that or not. Most people don't, because how many people accept a compliment? People are not that good at it, but even though it makes them feel good, accept it. Again, accept it with the intention is given. A gift. Accept, be a receiver. If somebody wants to give you a gift, take it. Hey, thank you. People go, oh, no, you stop. I was not that much anyway. Don't get in the way of the flow. Don't get in the way of the inflow, right? We got to, you can't keep doing the outflow. You have to have the inflow too. Again, accept it with the intention is given, especially from children. It teaches them to give more. especially accept any gift a child wants to give you. Take it and acknowledge it and give them back the gift of thank you, acknowledging how kind they are. But accept the gift. It teaches them to give more. So you have to ask yourself, what do you want to receive? Okay, so let's get really into this and understand the gift of giving. It's also down to what you want to receive. So when we think about what you want to achieve, I talk a lot about the emotional bank account. It's about deposits and withdrawals. If you go back to your bank machine and you put your card in and you keep taking money out, and you keep going back and you take money out and keep going back and taking money out, eventually it's going to run dry. And the only way you could go back and use your card in that machine again is by making some withdrawals or some deposits. You got to deposit something into it before you can take something out of it. Life is no different. If you want to withdraw happiness, deposit the gift of happiness. If you want to withdraw love out of life, then deposit the gift of love. If you want joy, then deposit the gift of joy. If you want material goods, then deposit the gift of helping others to receive material goods. If you want to withdraw appreciation, deposit the gift of appreciation and show someone appreciation. I appreciate you, Pete. I appreciate everyone that joins us on this call. I appreciate those who choose to work with me. I appreciate every kind word that is shared. I appreciate my family and the love that they share with me. I appreciate all that I see every day, the people that are out there working relentlessly to make someone's life more fulfilling. I am grateful. Practice gratitude. If you really want to know the gift of love, the gift of giving, practice gratitude. Be grateful for everything. Be grateful for what you do and what you give. Wholeheartedly, you know. No conditions. No conditions. And you see, when people think about no conditions, they think, well, I can't accept anything back in return. That's nonsense. You must receive something back. You have to have inflow also. If you truly want to understand the gift of giving, you have to have inflow. You have to allow it in. You can't have the world giving to you and you're not accepting it. Then they stop the flow of giving, right? So practice gratitude. So I'm going to put it over to you guys now. What are you going to give and receive? What are you going to do specifically? And are you truly going to practice the habit of gratitude? Charles Dickens once said that no one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. You can make a difference by giving. There is always something you can give. Always.
Just as you speak, Pat, I've jotted down maybe 30 things of zero cost. Just points of, time, kind words, patient, energy, enthusiasm, ideas, love, kindness, insights, memories, experiences, smiles, personal touch. There's so much of zero cost.
Yeah, and let me say this to you, Pete. You give all that in bucket loads. In bucket loads. And, and the people who pay attention, who pay it forward, who listen, who actually accept it. And if you accept it, you pay it forward. So the people who are paying attention to what you do, if they truly receive this gift, you pay it forward. And when you pay it forward, you change lives. You have an impact far beyond what you could ever imagine. And that's just why I chose that quote from Charles Dickens, because it's so important that people understand that no one is useless in the world who lightens the burdens of another. Everybody, I've seen this, I have seen this. I have spoken to people who are homeless. I've spoken to people who lived on the street and how they take care of each other. It's incredible how they depend on each other, look up to each other, support each other. When most people walk past them, I think they're useless. Everybody has something to give. Everybody. And everybody has something to receive too. Just do it. Get out there and make it happen. There is always something you can give. You can always make a difference. It's a fast-paced world. People are caught up in consumerism, and that's okay, by the way. I like good things in life. Let's be clear. I like good things in life. I like to have a good time. I like to enjoy my life. And it's important that I can receive that and accept that as part of my life too, without any judgment. And that it can be received in the same way, without any guilt, without anything. And actually say, I enjoy my life. Because let me say this to you, in my opinion, nobody in this world should suffer. Everybody can play their part. And I'm going to suggest to people to become a role model as much as you can. Whatever it is you want to have, go out there and have it and show other people that they can too. That's another great gift. Do it with love. Do it with the right intention. And I can tell you, it will be felt far beyond what you could ever imagine. You would impact so many people in a positive way by understanding the gift of giving. So remind yourself that no one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another. Have an outstanding day.
Thank you.